Hello everyone, welcome to our Let's Play series of Underrail Expedition. This is Colonel RPG as usual, and I'm very happy that you chose to join me today in a slightly different place than we were at the end of last episode. It's because I just wanted to make sure that this question wasn't asked already, and it wasn't, and so we're going to continue talking to Todd over here. We're not really talking to Todd, we're talking to the other people. They have names. And they're going to tell me the names because I clicked on that and I know that they're going to tell me the names. Who exactly are the Sub-Islanders? We are. That would be us. The Oivinders. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing it, but sure. We are the last of our people in Lemuria. Me, my wife, and our daughter, Sineva. Sina. Sweet, sweet child, our daughter-in-law. The Sub-Islanders came to Lemuria way before the Great War, and we've been together since. Yes, our numbers were modest in the beginning. We came from Atlantis, a station that is said to be in a place called the North, in the direction of the docking dome, but way beyond it. Why did the Sub-Islanders come here? Our people were adapted to living conditions the native Lemurians were not. The conditions you witnessed here. We don't need much room, much light, much movement. This station was built with us in mind. It is much like Atlantis, the senior Sub-Islanders used to say. Sub-Islanders were perfect for working here and helping the Lemurian community. We performed mining duties, technology research, and along the way maintained our culture. What survived the integration, that is. We did... I need to know what that is, because... I don't know what the integration is. We did live separately from the native Lemurians until the Great War, though. Then many years later, Dizunian happened. Or the Dizunian, as they keep referring to it. And we can ask about that. We greatly admire the Sub-Islander language. Yes, isn't that so, Angus? Oh, I have to add that I've always envied Asta for her beautiful name. It sounds so open and bright. It's the two A's, one of the... at the beginning and the one at the end. Sineva sounds gorgeous as well. Thank you, Shelley. Everyone falls silent as discomfort in the air turns thick. Unwarrantedly, I should add, but yes, that is the what happens. Tell me about the Dizunian. It's a separation of our two peoples. Unfortunately, a violent one. After the Great War, most prominent native Lemurians arrived to the Abyssal Station. Most ministers, their families, and everyone else who had been selected, all was well at the start. Biocorp never found this location, and the natives integrated into the Sub-Islander population well. Sub-Islander population. There was no segregation, and the two people lived together, room to room. There was one place where the natives didn't fit in. The Research and Development Dome had two sections, General Laboratory sections and Special Laboratory sections. The Special Laboratory performed highly advanced and specialized research and was comprised of respected Atlantean researchers who preferred working their own way and didn't like the outsiders. Some of these were my great-grandparents, and everything I'm telling you now was passed down through the generations. That bloody lab. To the depths with it. Angus, don't interrupt. It's bad manners. It didn't take long before arguments over the administration of the special laboratories and the direction of its research made all native scientists leave. As years went by, this spread to general laboratories as well. One can say they were the earliest signs of tensions between Sub-Islanders and the natives. And as years went by, the two peoples could coexist less and less. The medical problems the native Lemurians suffered from by being incapable of living in the confinement of the station. The resources necessary for medication, special accommodation, and later even artificial means of reproduction, it became a growing problem. The condition itself was seen as a weakness in the eyes of the proud Atlantean Sub-Islanders, an obstacle to their future and their stations. Weakness. Most of these sentiments originated in the R&D dome. There were disagreements even among the Sub-Islanders themselves. Some felt that the researchers took on views far too strange in some ways, unreal. Their behavior, that's not what unreal means, their behavior changed as well. Their families who lived in the residential domes spoke worriedly, I suppose, about their beloved ones returning after days, weeks of absence to them with obsessions regarding our ancient Sun Islander culture, about going outside, the future and the past, the hatred toward the natives' sickness. That is while they were still returning. I don't even want to imagine it. There was a moment in time when no one left the dome. All who went there stayed there. Thus, the station was in a state of fear and security was on high alert. And then about a century ago it happened. The gates to R&D opened and armed sub-islanders, Disunionists, started pouring out, dressed in clothes described only as horrifying. So we don't... I assume... when you say... if you're saying this because this is a second-hand account, or... yeah, second-hand account, right? Because it would be horrifying to the people who were seeing the clothes, so it's second-hand account. But it's a third-hand account, considering that it's being told to me. But either way, when you're saying a second-hand account and you're saying specifically described only as horrifying, you're not actually casting judgment, which is a level of nuance that is surprising to see in this group of people that we're meeting through Todd, because they're not nuanced at all before. They continue. They spoke in our old sub-islander language. My grandfather, and a sub-islander historian, told me so himself, and he awarded this language the epithet. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that word. Bastardized. Clearly, he wasn't a very good historian, because that's not how it works. Also, it's not an epithet. The cafeteria was where the largest battle happened. These madmen wanted to kill everyone. Everyone. This dome, it was a massacre. The Disunionists killed their own family members who refused to join them. Which is weird, because that sounds like they wanted union. And then those who refused... I wonder who came up with this name. Disunionists. Anyway... it sounds to me like they just wanted to be unified. And, oh, you don't want to be with us? Die! The one, because, that's like Fallout 1 all over again. Join, die, join, die, And union and stuff. It's like one of the big letters or big words that show up in the screens late in the game of Fallout 1. No spoilers, though, if you've finished Fallout 1. Or if you've seen one of my Let's Plays, you know what I'm talking about anyway. The ones they could reach. Those who survived managed to lock themselves in and defend the second residential dome and the one beyond. Food processing and aquaponics. Power dome remained sealed as well. Welcome to the power dome. Is that which one is it? Is it power dome or is it thunder dome? I don't know which one, what it means either way, but still. The Disunionists left for the outside through docking. They took the pre-war subspheres. Oh, so that's what we saw upstairs. That's a subsphere, which is just basically a submarine. They left corpses and desolation behind them, about 20 or so survivors, mostly native Lemurian and about 3 disjointed sub-islander families, which would later all merge into Oivinders. There was, of course, some unfriendliness at that time, and some regrettable things were done, but we all got along well after that, yes. I should say, just the fact that they all joined into the Oivinders and as a family, and we're talking to 2 families apparently. I keep forgetting the name. Well, I keep forgetting both of their names, but specifically I don't remember the name of the other family. One of them is the Oivinder. But I should say that if we were, like, I'm gonna hazard a guess that these families are not real, or like that these people are not real. That they're trapped in a computer somewhere, or maybe it's just all in Todd's mind. Or they're inconsequential to the game, and they're just meant as a joke. Because it just doesn't make sense, from a, what's the word? Anthropological standpoint. It doesn't make sense that they would keep the mannerisms that they have. It doesn't make sense that they would even have attachment by family like that, because they would have a specific, because in such confined spaces. Never mind the whole thing of how did they reproduce and survive for generations. That's not how it works. I mean, it can be how it works. It's just not how it is here represented. So this is like this just comes across as either a joke at, not at our expense, but a joke to the players. Just sort of look at these goofy people that are not real because they're in a video game, and look at their situation that is goofy and fun, huh? Isn't that a nice time? And it sort of is. But at the same time, if we're to take this seriously, and if they're going to be consequential, then the questions that this whole situation raises are lore breaking. Like, you can't. There's no way these people would be like this. Just they wouldn't have. They wouldn't. It's not how people work. Can you imagine? It's like it just doesn't work like that. It's difficult to compare it to us as modern human beings because, of course, us modern human beings don't live in isolation, even though at the time of the recording we are in isolation considering the global pandemic, but that's beside the point. Because, can you imagine us just talking about things that happened 150 years ago all day, every day, and it's just, that's what we're talking about. Although I am specifically asking about those things, so maybe I'm being unfair here, but they haven't said anything about their daily life, apart from Todd's daily life that apparently needs to exercise. But still, it's just like they're stuck in the past. It's what I mean to say. That's why I say that they're like in a computer program or something, maybe. And this whole family, we're just all merged into one family, because families are like companies or something. It's just like, they weren't sustainable, and yeah, and the rules of the law that it must be only the men that carry the family name or something that also was referenced to in the last episode. Let's see. They continue. There was, of course, some unfriendliness. It really throws me off the lack of comas. It throws me off. Like, they exist sometimes, but it's just there should be comas over there, and that one can, I suppose, it works for that. But either way, I give me comas, please. This game just doesn't use comas, but it's not that I'm not used to it. But anyway. There was, of course, some unfriendliness at the time, and some regrettable things were done, but we all got along well after that. Yes, yes. It's horrible, isn't it? Us, we were all born way, way after all that, and we have nothing against sub-islanders, but our grandparents, they lived through it, they remembered it. There were beatings, murder, suicides. Angus, please, let's not go into the details, it's all in the past, please. But it is the damn truth. You're not making my case, Todd. Or, not Todd, the bass person. Or rather, you're not making your case, you're making my case for me. It's just like, it's all in the past. You have zero connection to it, unless you were indoctrinated by your parents. And in a way that would force you to self-indoctrinate as well, because your parents would have been indoctrinated themselves, and they would also be gone, because of age, I suppose, or something. Or that you eat them. And it's just, no, it doesn't work like that. People don't work like this. The Dezunionists destroyed the things we needed to stay. Angus, enough! We better end it here, says the baritone. It is a difficult subject for all. Yes, if you weren't our guests. Oh, well, yes. How about we speak about something more jolly? Yes, what would you say? So, you said that you didn't know about any acorn. They said, no. The question, I'm just giving you a preamble so that you can follow the conversation a little bit better. But what I'm saying here is that, where did you say acorn might be? I think they specifically said that they didn't know about any acorn. Oh, right. They didn't know about any acorn, but it might be in research and development, but it's locked. Curse it to depths, says the bass. I'd like to talk to you about Todd. What did he screw up now? Angus... Oh, I suppose that was the bass voice. Angus, please, don't jump to conclusions, dear. I'm sure it's nothing of the sort. Carrie, what did you want to talk to us about? Todd seems to be exercising a lot. Oh, Todd suffers from numerous health problems, both physiological and psychological. Life here, it's truly difficult. Yes, but the worst of all, Todd has fertility problems. Which, the worst of all. This is good. This is good writing here. Because there was a little bit of a hint towards their obsession with reproduction here. Because they said something about taking medicine, and then even, like, not taking medicine, but, like, the way of life that the Lemurians weren't used to. And apparently one of the... Oh, even artificial means of reproduction! Which is, you'd think, not a thing that you need to get used to, because it's artificial. You don't... It's like, what do you want? You just get injected, or you jack off, or whatever. It's just... It's pretty... I mean, it's... It's not something you get used to. I mean, the jacking off is a different matter. But what I mean is, like... What artificial means of reproduction are they doing that people need to get used to, is what I mean to say. And that actually might be... that's why I'm saying this is good writing here. Let's see where it goes. But I suspect that they might have, like, womb farms or something like that, as sometimes are seen in dystopic horror movies and whatnot. Let's see what they have to say. The boy's useless. Oh, that's the bass voice. There is still hope for him and Sina to have a child, but it all depends on him. I've treated Todd for years. There is only so much I can do. No hope. Yeah. Also, not sociologically, anthropologically speaking, they probably wouldn't have need, or probably wouldn't have an interest in reproduction here. Never mind all the consequences, or rather, not consequences, all the difficulties of establishing a colony with so few people. It's impossible. I don't know how long it takes for it to just become absolutely impossible, but they probably wouldn't, because they're sort of trapped in here, and they are limited mobility, and they would just be like, okay, well, I guess that's it. I'm just gonna stay here for the rest of my days. And reproduction might happen as it's just sort of a consequence of normal human activity, but that sort of raises questions more than it answers, really. It's because they are doing it seemingly very what's the word? Focusedly. Yeah. Does Todd have... I'm thinking that I might kill Todd. Does Todd have a microchip implant in his hand? Yes, of course, we all do. Yes, but about the microchip, you haven't seen the boy use it to open the gate leading to the Research and Development Dome, did you? He's forbidden from ever looking at it. If you have, tell us and I'll... Oh, that was the bass. You have no faith in our son. He screws everything up. You have no patience with him. I wouldn't need patience if you'd let me raise him like my father raised me. Well, look how that turned out. Carrie, pardon our digression. You were saying... yeah, can you let Todd unlock the gate to R&D for me? If the boy unlocks it now, what's next? He'll go there and screw everything up. Maybe this is the bass one as well. I don't know. Flood the station. There could be germs there, viruses. He could be sick. Or could get sick. Or if he follows you, hurt himself. New unknown spaces are likely to cause him stress. Plenty of stress. You can see in Todd's face... No, what you can see in Todd's face seems to represent everyone looking at each other. Oh, this... Yeah, I've actually noticed that the narrator is saying nonsensical things about what a person can represent with their face. And, apparently I'm seeing something that represents everyone looking at each other. Maybe he's raising his right eyebrow, and he has his tongue sticking out, and that's what it represents. That represents everybody looking at each other. Asta, a strange thing happens. Todd pauses, which he was already paused, as he appears to have subtly fallen out of character, his mouth moving but no words coming out, and then, please speak to my husband. I don't remember which one it is. Is it Shelley? Yes, Carrie. Don't you think you may be a bit too protective of Todd? I beg to differ. I'm as protective as a mother should be. It's my duty. Todd is a perfectly capable young man, but there will always be things where mother knows best. And mistakes happen. Mistakes happen, like in aquaponics. There are many ways he could hurt himself, and he needs to eat well. And why should he worry about it if his mother is an alimentary technician? Is that an actual term in English? Because I know what it means. It means nutritionist. I mean, on the technical side rather than on the scientific side. But I'm not sure this is... Alimentation is not a word in English, is it? Because it just means, nutrition. Not necessarily just nutrition from nutrients, but just from food as well, in general. It's my expertise. I can prepare everything for him, end to end. No matter how old he is to me still that little boy from our family portrait. From your family portrait. Oh yeah, in our room. Family portraits are a matter of tradition here. Every year, an entire family would get photographed in the photo room, and effects and backgrounds of our choice. Yeah, backgrounds. It's a missing G there. Although backgrounds is an interesting... It's how you pronounce it, actually. The G doesn't make it there. The backgrounds of our choice would be added. It was wonderful. So... Some had little taste, but in our family it was... I suppose some photographs were of little taste. But in our family it was something we would spend a lot of time planning to get a perfect picture. But after the photo room equipment got broken down, we stopped doing it. Angus tried repairing it, but there's no way to manufacture the replacement parts. I'll think about it in the meantime. Angus? Yes? You don't think all too highly of your son, do you? How can I, Carrie? How can I? My only son, my blood, the carrier of my genes, yet he can't even learn how to use a simple tool bracer. I've tried teaching him many other things too, but he always finds a way to screw it all up. Damn it all to the depths. I can't pronounce that word properly. Do you not say the P? Is it just depths? That can't be. Steps? I don't know. These hands, he says, these hands with these I alone have maintained this station ever since my father died. May his spirit float freely. With these hands I have brought servants back to life to take care of our two families, saved us all from flooding and loss of electrical power on numerous occasions, and my son can't even maintain his own room. The only thing these hands couldn't do was raise a man. Well, that's, yeah. Stig, how may I help you? Do you think the regimen you've put Todd on is really good for his psyche? His mental state is indeed delicate. Todd is suffering from a complex form of infantile regression, a condition in which a person regresses to an earlier stage of development, adapting childish mannerisms and behavior. It serves as a defense mechanism to protect the psyche from an unacceptable reality, in his case, his fertility problems. However, mind and body are interconnected. I think the reality here isn't the fertility problems, it's the pressure that the family puts on him to not have fertility problems. But let's just skip right past that. However, mind and body are interconnected. Yeah, through the fact that the mind is in the body. His problems fundamentally are psychological in nature, so treating these... No, they're sociological. I mean, in the sense that... Well, you know what I mean. Anyway. So treating these issues will inevitably reflect positively on his mental state. There's an old Lemurian saying, a healthy mind in a healthy body. Exercise will not only help, there's no conclusion to that, though. He's just bloviating. That's the technical term for what he just did when he said a healthy mind in a healthy body. Exercise will not only help him get fit, but it will also help him reduce stress, as exercise decreases tension, elevates the mood, improves sleep, and self-esteem. I have years and years of Todd's test results on my computer which have led me to these conclusions. What kind of tests? The one I keep on my computer in the doctor's office. They're various and numerous. I've been Todd's physician since his birth, after all. Yeah, I've seen some of Todd's medical records. He's got low testosterone. Does he have low testosterone? Specifically looked at testosterone, not that because he was the first one, and he was within the parameters. Also, low testosterone is not correlated to low fertility. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's the opposite. Because high testosterone levels are usually associated with high androgen level and estrogen levels, because the body compensates. Well, it depends. I'm not an expert in hormone treatments or anything like that, which leads to things like early balding and male pattern hairline recession. Those are the usual ones, or the most common ones, and they're getting more prominent in our society as well, just because, well, estrogen is really everywhere. Milk tends to have dairy and everything, and that's not the only place, obviously, but still, it's our nutrition, our alimentation has changed in comparison to hundreds of years in the past, and that's why we're, as a civilization, getting more and more fertility problems. Could that be due to stress? Apparently, yes. Among other things, stress affects testosterone levels negatively, which then results in impotence. It does not. That is why we need to keep it at a minimum through exercise, while keeping him in an environment in which he can feel as safe as possible. You asked that Todd opens the R&M dome gate for you. That in and of itself will be stressful for anyone in a... Oh, will. Nice. For someone in as delicate condition as he is, as mundane an action as it may seem. Keeping him in one dome is going to be more stressful in the long run. He says, having a new unknown space before him, one that has been described as dangerous to him repeatedly, is bound to cause him a lot of stress. And I got hiccups, I'm sorry. Yeah, but he needs more space. He's just ignoring me right now, so this person needs to die. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna need to kill them all to save Todd or something, because they are all computer program or something. Also, he'll feel pressured not to make a mistake, even if it's such a simple thing. Yes, pressure is the problem, for sure. I know how implants work. I'll make sure he does fine. Let's say it all goes well, he says. But what if later on he opens the gate and goes there alone, and something happens to him? There should be a comma there as well. Well, he shouldn't live in constant fear of everything. What if something, in fact, does go wrong when the gate opens? Something that's an actual threat? Well, I'll take care of that if it happens. You'll see everything. I'll see everything can be overcome, I believe is what I chose. I understand. I think I now understand what you mean. In other words, I give up trying to convince you otherwise. It's not really about understanding. It's not his low testosterone that makes him less of a man. Also, it's not his infertility that makes him less of a man, because you're still just a man if you... It's like, that's just gross to say, but anyway. You're still a man if you can't have kids, or a woman, or whatever gender. It's not being a man that keeps his testosterone low. Or high. Yes. Native Lemurians, how different they are. I've grown... You see, Todd is a native Lemurian. These guys are different. I think that's what it means over here. I've grown distant to Todd after years... Distant from Todd? After years of him and Sina not being able to make a child. His problems prevented it, and I have worked for years to improve his health with the means I had. I felt like a patient. Yes, we've grown distant, Asta and I and him. Moreover, I believe he no longer has any kind of relationship with his wife, apart from being her husband. Very well. It's the end of the episode, and we're going to continue this in the next one. For right now, I'm Colonel RPG, and this has been Underrail Expedition. I really hope you've enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and leave a comment. Like the video if you want to see the next episode come out sooner rather than later. But above all, thank you so much for watching, and I hope I'll see you next episode. Bye-bye.